Hello, this is Kirby McCook and the Jesus Chronicles, Chapter 2. Are you ready? Let's go! Jesus makes dinosaurs. Well, Grandpa McCook and Mr. Javier both talked to Mrs. Higgins this week. They all decided she was a bit frazzled and needed something called a leave of absence. Sort of like a vacation. Grandpa McCook agreed to take responsibility for our class. But here's the catch. He worked out a plan with Mr. Javier to experiment with team teaching the class with, wait for it, me! Yes, Grandpa told me, I've always said you kids need to step up and take on some responsibility. Here's your chance, Kirby. You'll be the stand-up guy, I'll be the resource guy. And so Grandpa hauled in his beat-up old recliner, and he dragged the chair to the back of the classroom, and he plopped himself in it. I've got a bum knee, he said, so here's where you'll find me if you need me. He gave me a wink. It's all you, buddy. There he is, sitting in his recliner. Well, he explained all that to the class. I noticed that Zuri Claire was beaming at me and my neck got kind of hot. Then I stood up front and said, okay, each week I'll tell you a little about whatever I know about Jesus. We won't look at all the stories in the Bible, only the ones where Jesus shows up. And here's something lots of people don't know. Jesus shows up in way more stories than you think. Mason piped up. I don't know, he said, looking around at the other kids. There's a lot of hard stuff in the Bible. Kirby's a smart guy, but what if he gets stumped? Don't worry, I said, even though it was probably pointless, because Mason's always worrying about something. When I get stumped, we'll ask Grandpa McCook. He's been around forever, and he's read the Bible a zillion times. He knows Jesus better than anyone else I can think of. From his recliner, Grandpa gave a little salute. Mason smiled for a millisecond, and then he frowned again. But we need to keep this under wraps, don't we? Your grandpa's cool, but we can't let most grown-ups know. Otherwise, we'll get boring Mr. Cowburn as our substitute for sure. I looked around at the other kids and I asked, okay, well, what do you all think? Most of the kids nodded in agreement. We all knew this wasn't quite normal for junior church, but it looked like everyone was up for an adventure. Only one person wasn't smiling. Jimmy folded his arms across his chest, glared, and announced, it's a dumb idea, Kirby McCook. Your head is filled with oatmeal and sugar and donuts. I, for one, don't think you can do it. That made me jump in with both feet, and I said, well, I, for one, think it's a great idea. Your attention, please. Last week we started with when Jesus got started. That is, he never actually started because he always just was. Every head swiveled to look at Grandpa, and he nodded, and he said, it's called being eternal. No beginning at all, and no ending either. The heads swiveled back to me. Exactly, just like I said last week. See, Jimmy, we also found out that God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit teamed up to create everything. Here's how that went down. At the dawn of time, when God started creating the heavens and the earth wasn't much to look at. The Bible said it was formless and empty and dark, and it had deep waters covering it. God the Holy Spirit hovered like a helicopter right above those waters. Yep, all three of the God persons were active in creation. On the first day, God, through Jesus, created light. He just spoke, and light appeared. Whammo, and God called the light good. On the second day, God, the Son, created the sky. He just spoke, and the sky appeared. Kazablam, and God called the sky good. The third day, Jesus separated water from land and called the land earth and the waters seas. And that was good. Jesus told the land to produce plants. All kinds of trees and shrubs and vines and blossoms and bulrushes and shoots and leaves and Venus flytraps appeared. All that was good. Nobody had allergies back then and nobody was sneezing. On the fourth day, Jesus created the stars, the sun, and the moon. Good again. On the fifth day, Jesus created all kinds of living things, first in the seas and next in the air. Sharks and trout and seahorses and clams and oysters. Then eagles and hummingbirds and buzzards and umbrella birds and falcons and cockatiels. And God called it all good. On the sixth day, Jesus created all the land creatures. Cows and dogs and hogs and giraffes and snails and dinosaurs. Some people think they were called behemoths and leviathans back then. And even slugs. Yeah, slugs. And God called it all good, even slugs. There must have been lots of noise at first. Imagine all that roaring and bellowing and meowing and whinnying and barking and hee-hawing. In all that noise and goodness, God the Son created one more important thing on the sixth day. And it was really, really good. Do you know what it was? Actually, I'm going to leave you guessing. But remember this, Jesus existed before anything, and God created everything through Jesus. Okay, see you next week. Kirby notes. Stick inside your brain. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. Want to read more? Genesis 1, Colossians 1:15-20, or 1 Corinthians 8, verse 6. See you next time.